Hello everyone and welcome to my video tutorial series for scripting magic spells for Minecraft roleplay servers and other things. Today we're going to be taking a look at modifiers. Modifiers is kind of comparable to what you see in regular programming as like if-then-else statements, but implemented in kind of a difficult way that you can do a lot with if you master the concept. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be making a spell that makes it so that if you're crouching, you will automatically go invisible. That's just funny to me. Let's make our file as we do. Going to be making a new text document. We're naming that spells tutorials modifiers.yl. So we're going to be starting with a passive spell because we want this to check, let's say every 10 ticks or something. Let's just copy in code from our last one. Here's a nice passive. Boom. Sneak-passive is what we're going to call it. Now the trigger we're going to be using for this is tick 10, which is of course ticks twice per second. At the end of this video I'm gonna ticks 10, okay. I'm gonna talk a little bit about using ticks as a trigger. Because anyone with coding experience probably looks at this and instantly has a small little heart attack of that I'm making a spell that's checking twice per second, that's being run on a Minecraft server that might potentially have 300 people on it. We will revisit that. But right now, just for this demonstration, we're gonna be using tick. This is not how we would make this spell normally, but this is just the quickest way that we can do it. There's always multiple solutions to a problem, and some of them are simply more resource efficient than others. Now there is such a thing as an invisibility spell, but if I recall correctly, this just makes it so that mobs can't target you. This is 1 second, there's a... Okay, sorry for that. There was an ambulance outside my window, so I figured let's just mute that. So there is an invisibility spell, which says it makes you completely invisible, but I don't think it actually does. I think this one just makes it so that monsters can target you, so we're not going to be using that one. We're just going to be using the potion effect, as we did last time. In fact, why are we even... Why aren't we just stealing code from last week? Boom. Sneak potion. And we're going to be giving ourselves invisibility for 10 ticks. Actually, let's make it 11 ticks so there's no weird clip. Ability. Oh. Okay, as you can see now we just have permanent invisibility because every 10 ticks is going to give us invisibility for 11 ticks. So that just gives us permanent invisibility. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding a modifier. Now what's this modifier going to do? This modifier is going to make it so that this spell only fires when we're meeting a certain condition. In this case we're going to be doing sneak. So this is formatted in the same way. Let's actually go to the configuration so I can show you where I can find that. Modifiers. I think this one's just called sneaking. Yep. So we're doing sneaking. Required. This should be all we need for this. So we're just gonna quickly reload. Yeah, as you can see right now, I'm not invisible. Yeah, right now. Ooh, I'm so sneaky. I'm so sneaky, and then I go out of sneak, and I'm invisible again. It's amazing. Look at this fully automated spell. Now, since this was very fast, we're just gonna make another modifier thing, a little bit more complicated one. But first I want to talk about more in depth about this one. The trigger stick. If you make spells for SneakyRP, now if you do this for your own project or your own test, whatever, I don't care if you use sticks. That's why I did it in my tutorial. However, if you send something into SneakyRP, things are going to get peer reviewed before they get uploaded to the server. And if you put homework on my desk that has trigger ticks in it, you're getting it back. Because we're basically not putting in any spells on the server that use trigger tick. Why is that? Well, there's a lot of things that are very attractive to solve just by putting in trigger ticks 1. For example, what's it called? Dwarves vs. Zombies had a bunch of effects that had ticks 1. But the thing is, if you have ticks 1, then that means that you're casting, even if there's a modifier being checked, like this sneaking required, even right now I'm casting 2 spells per second, just because I have the ticks 10. Now it's evaluating that I'm not sneaking, so it's not actually doing it. If I am sneaking, it's also casting the potion effect, so it's already casting 4 spells per second. Now let's say we make this ticks 1. Means I'm casting 20 spells per second, or if I'm sneaking, casting 40 spells per second. Now let's say we're running a Minecraft server with 300 people on it. 300 times 40 is that 12,000? I'm gonna do quick maths here. 300 times 40. Yep, it's 12,000. I was right. I know math. I'm an engineer and I'm good at it. So, if you have tick 1, and then maybe a little spell chain, and then you have 300 people on the server, then just your little 2 spell bit is already 1200 spells that are being cast per second. So that's why that's illegal, because that'll really drop down our tick rate. And we want this project to be sustainable. We want to one day hopefully support very large player bases. And we want to support a lot of automation scripts. We already have over 1500. Could you imagine if all 1500 of those scripts had trigger tick 1 in them? That would be such a huge problem. So what I'm saying is, if you make something for SneakyRP, it will be peer reviewed before it gets uploaded to the server. And if you put something on my desk that has trigger sticks 1 in it, or even trigger sticks at all, I will most likely not accept it. For most roleplay items, there are different ways of doing it. You may remember in the MultiSpell video, we made a little loop. That's already a lot safer, because the loop is only being run by people who are actually doing it. Whereas a trigger ticks, I'm evaluating this modifier 2 times per second, and everyone else on the server is too. So I know that using trigger ticks is often an attractive solution to things you might want to make, but avoid it, because we're probably not letting it on the server. Okay, now let's do something with a little bit more complicated modifier. We're gonna be using something different from required. Maybe we're gonna use castinstead or something. Let's see, here are the actions. So here are the different things that you can do with modifiers. As you can see, you can do required or denied. Those are honestly your most common ones. Your next most common one is cast or cast instead, which means you can have, for example, one spell, and then when you crouch, it becomes a different spell. We are actually going to take some code from a past video. Let's use the casted mark spell again. We're gonna make an alternate version of this, where predefined items, by the way, have to go at the top. You have to do those before you put in any spells, so that's why this is right now kind of in an awkward position. Let's actually start commenting this. You actually know what's going on here. Wand item. So we're going to call this one Wolfspawn 2. This name is exactly the same as the name on the other one, which means it'll conflict. I'll teach you a little trick. We're going to add a space at the end so that it doesn't conflict. This is enough to trick your script to think that it's a different item. Just a little space at the end. So what are we going to do different with this one? We are going to be doing like right click spawns the mark, and then what we're going to be doing, this is just of course adding the tooltip. This is not actually code yet. We're gonna call it sneaking right click spawn a wolf at the planet mark. So basically we're looking at the same concept as we had with the casted mark spell that spawned a wolf, but instead of making it so that left click spawns a wolf, we're making it so that right click plants the mark and sneaking right click spawns the wolf. So let's just quickly comment this here. Stealth when sneaking. That's wolf spawn 2. So we're just gonna copy all of that code in, and we're just gonna rename the wolf spawn to wolf spawn 2 so that there's no conflict in names. This is of course a horrible naming scheme. It's just that I wanted to show code that you're already familiar with getting changed. That one's already wolf spawn 2. Okay, so what we're going to do here is this is a right click cast item wolf spawn 2-item, which is what it's called. Now here we have cast item wolf spawn 2-item. So we're removing that because we don't want this going off on left click anymore. Now what we are doing instead is we're adding a modifier. This one, modifier, modifiers apparently, modifiers. Now we can also look at something different than sneaking. Let's use roof. I've never used roof before, so this is what's going to change now. Is if I right click, then it plants a mark, but if I right click while a roof is above my head, it spawns a wolf. Does that have practical uses in roleplay? Probably not, but it's just a modifier I've never used before, so I want to see if it works. So what we're doing is here we used sneaking required. Here we do roof cast instead, and then we go over to our Wolfspawn 2 spawn multi. Okay, so we're gonna give us that item. So here essentially what we've done, let's go over it one more. We took some code that we already know works, that used to be right click to do one thing, left click to do another thing. Right now we have right click does one thing, and right click while a roof is above our head, roof cast instead, spawn the wolf. We're gonna build a little roof. Oh my god, there's actually building going on in this Minecraft video. This is unheard of. Reload our MagicSpells. Give us that wand. You can see here, this still says sneaking right click, which of course isn't accurate, but it's just a tooltip, doesn't matter. So this is gonna draw our mark, and we're gonna right click it with a roof above our head. Oh my god, a wolf spawned out. It's amazing. Draw mark, draw mark, draw mark. Wolf. Fantastic. Now this is also the type of, like modifiers is also the type of thing that you can use to end a loop. This is something I've talked about a couple of times already. If you use a multi-spell that reverts back into itself, then you can use a modifier to have it somehow end the loop. For example, you can do like, oh, we're looping this as long as we're sneaking. And the moment we stop sneaking, stop looping. That is how you can prevent things like, for example, all this particle buildup. This particle is building up because there's so many loops of this spell running all at the same time. So every time I throw this, it's going to get more animated. And that's because there's no stop condition to the loop I wrote. Yeah, so modifiers, in modifiers you can find ways to sort of stop your loop so that they don't go on forever. We're going to be going more into that in the video about cast modes, which will be video 304, which will hopefully be made somewhere last week or maybe in the weekend. I would like to thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you around again. See ya.